Thank you. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mbele's webinar, Civil Society's Role in Supporting Parliamentary Oversight Perspectives from Kenya and Malawi. My name is Amanda Duchars, Learning Coordinator for Mbele. Thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you who are new to Twinde, we are a Pan-African partnership dedicated to improving evidence use and accountability in public institutions. A key part of our work is creating practical peer learning spaces where countries can exchange real experiences on strengthening governance systems. Today's session does exactly that. We'll hear how civil society and parliaments collaborate in Kenya and Malawi, what's working, what the challenges are, and what opportunities exist for stronger evidence-informed oversight. Our aim at Twindebele is simple: to learn from each other and support more effective accountability across the region. I am delighted to introduce you to our facilitator, Mr. Eugene Swinnerstone. Eugene is a senior M&E consultant and director of programs at Trend System East Africa. He lectures at Ernest Cook University in Uganda and brings extensive experience from work with organizations across Africa and Europe, including Flock of Birds and ITAD. Eugene holds an executive MBA and advanced training in M&E, research methods, and public policy. He's a strong advocate for integrating Indigenous knowledge into evaluation practice and mentors emerging evaluators globally through programs like Eval Youth. He serves as academic representative on the Uganda Evaluation Association Executive Committee and is a member of the International Evaluation Academy. Beyond his technical expertise, Eugene is known as an engaging and skilled facilitator. We're very fortunate to have him guide today's discussion. With that, Eugene, it's over to you.
There's a way it feels so nice to hear somebody read your profile. Thank you very much, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction. And we are good to go. First of all, I would like to really appreciate everybody who has made time to be here to, work with us this journey and understanding how CSOs can actually partner or work together with parliaments to ensure there is stronger accountability. So we're going to understand that through the four major aims that are dedicated to this session. First of all, we'd like to explore how the CSO Parliament collaboration can strengthen oversight. We'd like to also ensure or share experiences, practical experiences and innovations from Kenya and Malawi. Thirdly, we'd like to see how we can promote peer learning on using M&E for better governance. And lastly, to identify opportunities to improve evidence use in parliament processes. But for this to be able to happen, we cannot do it without having this wonderful panel of speakers here. We are so glad to introduce our distinguished speakers from Malawi and Kenya. And here are their profiles as it is. From Malawi, we have Mr. Viwemi Chavula, who is a human rights and social development advocate with a strong focus on strengthening linkages between parliament and citizens, women's political empowerment, decentralization, and local governance. And he holds a master's degree in development studies and a postgraduate diploma in M&E. He's an executive director of the Center for Civil Society Strengthening and a member of the AU Civil Society Working Group on Women, Peace, and Security. We are glad to have you here, Mr. Viwemi. Mr. Lavamo Nyongo is a seasoned economist with 19 years of experience in the Malawian public service. He holds a Master's of Arts in Economics and has served in several ministries, including economic planning, agriculture, environment, and climate change. Since 2013, he has worked with the Parliament of Malawi, where he is currently the head of planning services. And his experience spans from strategic planning, policy development, project management, budgeting, and strategic and coordination of strategic partnerships. You're welcome, Mr. Lavamo Nyongo, to this wonderful session, and thank you for accepting to be a panelist in this session. From the Malawian team, last we introduced Ms. Velia Manyonga. She is the head of research and library division at the Parliament of Malawi with over 22 years of experience in research and evidence use. She holds a master's degree in public health informatics and is pursuing a PhD in social policy at the University of Strathclyde. She is an inaugural recipient of the Africa Evidence Leadership Award in 2018 and is recognized for championing evidence-informed decision-making in parliamentary processes. We really welcome you, Ms. Velia, to this wonderful session. And to our Kenyan team, we also have 3 speakers. We would like to welcome you, Dr. Awor Ponge, who is a Senior Associate Fellow in charge of Research, Policy, and Evaluation at the African Policy Center, and the Vice President of the Africa Evaluation Association, AFREA. He holds a PhD in Gender and Development Studies from Kenyatta University and lectures Development and Policy Studies at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. His works focuses on strengthening evidence-based and inclusive decision-making across civil society and government, drawing on deep experience in research, evaluation, policy analysis, and program management. You're very much welcome, Dr. Awor Ponge. To Ms. Eda Kanini Karijo. She's a monitoring, evaluation, and gender specialist with over 13 years of experience in system strengthening, organizational development, and evidence-based policy across Africa. She specializes in M&E systems design, gender-responsive evaluation, and digital and AI-enabled tools for development. She holds a leadership position, including treasurer of AFREA, that is the Africa Evaluation Association, board member of IDEAS, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Secretary General of MEPAC. She has mentored and trained hundreds of evaluators, parliamentarians, and government officials, and has spoken at several major global events, evaluation events. Thank you very much, Ms. Ida, for accepting the invite to be one of our speakers here. And lastly, we have Mr. David Kiboi, who is the head of monitoring, evaluation, and learning in the State Department for Economic Planning, in the National Treasury of Kenya. He has over 30 years of public service experience, having worked in multiple ministries, including environment, water, planning, and public service. He holds a bachelor's and master's degree in statistics from University of Nairobi, and has completed extensive training in performance monitoring, results-based management, and strategic leadership. Forgive me, Mr. Kiboi, because most of the times when you use the word Nairobi University, most people will want to give you some cane. I corrected it, University of Nairobi. You're all welcome, our wonderful participants, our wonderful panelists, and I would like now to allow us to get deep into the gist of this this wonderful cookery that we have prepared for you. So going first will be our Malawian team. They have organized their presentation so well, and so is the Kenyan team. So allow me to allow the Malawian team, starting with Velia, to open the floor, and I will allow other presenters to just tag along so that we finish the first part of the presentations, and then we can now go into the Q&A right after. Over to you, Ms. Velia. Perform.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share my video because of where I am, so I will just present. But good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be presenting to you an overview of Parliament, but more specifically, I will dwell much on the evidence strategies we use at the Parliament of Malawi. In terms of an outline, I will take you through the introduction, oversight dispensation, intra-organizational bodies, and I will spend much time in unpacking evidence use in the parliamentary work. This is how my presentation will be. Next slide. In terms of, as a matter of introduction, our parliament, we've got only one house, and we've got the National Assembly and the President. Only one house, we don't have two houses. And currently, we are just coming out of elections. We had the elections in September. We were supposed to elect 229 members of parliament, but we managed to have 223 members of parliament. The other 6 were either cancelled, nullified, or we are pending some elections. So the other 6 seats will be filled in later on. And in terms of our parliamentary system, actually, we use first past the post system. That's how our elections are done. And as a parliament, like any other parliament in the world, we work on representing the constituents, making laws, and carrying out oversight functions. Specifically, these are performed either in the plenary or in the committees. These are the 2 places where we carry out the oversight functions, representation, and making laws. Now, in terms of our oversight dispensation, as I said, we make laws in the plenary, and this is also where our members of parliament carry out representative functions. And in the committees, our committees are established under various legal provisions, which are under the Constitution of Malawi, and specifically, the committees are there to review legislations and policy implementation, examining the budget use and performance, holding public entities accountable, but also conducting public hearings and inquiries. In fact, in the parliamentary systems or in the committees, this is where the voice of reason takes place. This is where the voice of Malawians are carried out. And in Malawi, we've got our development agenda, which is 2063 agenda. It is in this agenda where all the aspirations of Malawians are contained. And it is in the parliamentary committees. That's where people have got a voice. I will unpack this later on. Next slide. Now, in terms of interparliamentary organizations, we've got the parliamentary committees. At the moment, there are 17 parliamentary committees, and these are the groups where members are appointed by the Assembly to consider business within a specific mandate. And after they've considered the business, they're expected to report back into the House. So you can actually imagine that this is where there is a need to use evidence, because once the parliamentary committees are making decisions, these decisions will be carried into the House. We also have the caucuses in Parliament of Malawi. Currently, we've got 4 caucuses. We've got Women Caucus, we've got the Youth Caucus, we've got the Population Caucus, and the TB Caucus. In these caucuses, this is where a group sharing interest meet and discuss issues concerning the constituency. And finally, we've got interparliamentary organizations. At the moment, Parliament of Malawi attends to 5 main interparliamentary organizations. Next slide. Now, how does our evidence work in the Parliament of Malawi? Actually, central to parliamentary work is the use of evidence. For your own information, this use of evidence is not just arbitrary. It's actually in the standing orders of the Parliament of Malawi. The standing orders mandates members of parliament to always use evidence. Of course, there's a debate in terms of the definition of evidence, but members of parliament are mandated to use evidence because parliaments can only thrive on factual information that relies on quality data, not just data, but quality data. Now, the question can be, why should members of parliament need evidence? Yes, this is where there is gist of parliamentary work. As I said, we've got our Malawi development agenda, the Malawi 2063. Now, Parliament need to align laws with this Malawi 2063. And the laws need to be informed by evidence, because if we don't align laws with evidence, 2063 may be a challenge to achieve. Yes, there's a debate that says by 2063, in fact, all of us most of us attending this webinar may not be alive by 2063. But this Malawi 2063, we've got a 10-year implementation plan. So our laws need to be aligning themselves with evidence to achieve the Malawi 2063. And evidence also help the members of parliament to hold ministries accountable, to evaluate their performance and to evaluate their performance. Without evidence, holding ministries will be far-fetched. And to represent the constituency better, members of parliament need data. And where should this data comes from? The data should come from the district. Specifically, now we are advocating for the youth voice. The data should come from the youth. We should not leave the youth out, but the data should also come from them. And then evidence also help our members of parliament to allocate resources. They should only allocate resources to what truly delivers. Not just to say, because we need money for Minister of Agriculture, we need money for Minister of Gender, but what is it that can truly deliver? Parliament can only know what truly delivers if they use that data. And specifically, we also need data to meet regional and global obligations such as Sustainable Development Goals, African Union Agenda. So we also need evidences. Go to the next slide. And now, how does the research and library services provide members of parliament with evidence? Specifically, library and research officers at Parliament of Malawi are there to prepare briefing notes to be used in the parliamentary committees, briefing notes to be used in the House. These briefing notes are where the evidence is. So members from the research department are also there to provide diagnosis on topical issues in a committee. They provide background paper or country profiles with information so that members of parliament can use. And specifically, which is most important, researchers are there to synthesize the data. I don't know with Kenya or South Africa, but as we know, members of parliament come from diverse academic background. So they need researchers to be evidence brokers so that they are able to interpret the research and use it in decision making. And sometimes we also do reports that are accessible to the members of parliament. Next slide. So this is what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vedia. Eugene, moderator, should I take over?
Yes, just jump in. Thank you.
Right, okay. Thank you so much, moderator. And thank you, everyone. Welcome to the second part of the presentation. And I'm to focus on the relationship now between Parliament of Malawi and the civil society organizations in evidence-based oversight. Next slide, please. So basically, I'll look at the nexus between Parliament of Malawi and civil society organizations, the roles of civil society organizations in parliamentary work, government efforts to improve relationship, existing challenges, opportunities, recommendations, and conclusion. Next slide, please. So, Parliament is mandated by the Constitution and works basically guided by the Constitution as well as the Parliamentary Service Act of 2021 and is there to do the oversight work as already indicated by my colleague as one of the functions. But I think the system of checks and balances is cannot be fully done if the civil society organizations are not involved in that work. That's the more reason Parliament of Malawi tries as much as possible to work with the civil society organizations so that we provide the evidence and the research findings, as my colleague has already indicated. Checking our constitution in sections 12 and 13, the citizens are expected to fully participate in parliamentary work as well as in policy and governance processes. And I think that's very key for the civil society to make sure that they also take the voice of the people and then they bring them to parliament for further processing. Next slide, please. So how important is it? The collaboration is very important as it fosters improved democratic governance. It is also important for informed and responsive legislation, empowered citizens, and inclusive governance. As my colleague has already indicated, the legislation that we come up with as Parliament should be responsive to the needs of Malawians, and she has also talked about the Malawi 2063. Good examples that we can provide on where Parliament has worked with the civil society, the establishment of the Parliamentary Budget Office in 2019, that was fully supported by the civil society organizations, and they did their best to make sure that we establish the PBO. Enactment of Access to Information Act of 2017, civil society was fully involved in that one, as well as the Gender Equality Act of 2013, civil society was fully involved in that process. Next slide, please. So civil society plays a crucial role in complementing the roles of Parliament, and this is done through advocacy and lobbying. Citizen participation in parliamentary affairs holds the government accountable for its actions, and civic awareness and sensitization activities. But they also offer
sorry to interject.
Yes,
Mr. Fiske. We have our French speakers who are also trying to follow you, but the interpreter is having a hard time following you. So is it possible you just slow down a little bit?
Right, okay.
Yes,
so they also
please.
offer quality research and technical support to Parliament. And with that, civil society organizations are very good at evidence-based advocacy, and they usually conduct baseline surveys before advocacy, and progressively they measure performance, and that's very important in conducting the oversight work. Next slide, please. So the role of Parliament in executing civil society propositions. When the propositions are received by Parliament, these are submitted usually through committees. My colleague talked about the caucuses. That's where the submissions are made. And then once they are processed at that level, they come up with a report, which is then presented in the chamber for the executive to work on recommendations in those reports. Next slide, please. So government on its part has been trying to make sure that we strengthen the relationship with the civil society organizations. And in December 2024, there was a joint meeting where the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary together signed a pact with the civil society organizations to continue working together in uplifting the lives of Malawians. Next slide. So how robust is the relationship between Parliament and civil society organizations? I would say the relationship is robust. I bet a few governance, legal, and resource challenges. Civil society organizations, they can now access Parliament. I think unlike in the past, but now I think we work closely together. They can access Parliament easily, especially through the planning division where I'm coming from. That's the entry point for their work, and they do work with the committees as indicated, and even the caucuses. But then I think there is some perception issues that we also need to look at. For instance, Parliament looks at the civil society demands as being, in most cases, inexhaustible, ambitious, and at times untimely. So when they present their issues to Parliament, at times those issues Parliament will look at them, to look at the legal framework, see what can be done, whether we have adequate time to process those things. For instance, at the moment Parliament is in plenary, at times you'd find civil societies demanding to say you need to do this by or in the next 2 or 3 days. Now you look at the Parliament calendar, it becomes a bit difficult to marry the two, but we try our best. And at times when the civil society organizations are coming to Parliament, they do not consult on which template of the petitions to use. I'm not sure, I'm yet to learn from our colleagues from Kenya how they handle the issue of templates on the petitions. But I think at Parliament of Malawi, we have a template which they need to use. Now, when they submit it on something different from that, it becomes difficult to work with. And then for the civil society organizations, they look at Parliament as not taking into consideration their issues when they submit them. But I think the issue is at times we take those issues into consideration in the report. We include those issues and the report is tabled in the House as indicated. But then when the report goes to the executive, I think implementation becomes a problem. So for the civil society organizations, they think Parliament has not handled their issues, but in fact, we have handled the issues. Next slide, please. So some hindrances to the relationship and collaboration, high cost of mobilizing members of Parliament. Colleagues in the civil society have always complained about this. Some civil society organization ideologies advocate for some foreign policies which are not in tandem with the government policies. Partisan agenda at times, and the use of standardized petition, as I've already said, but also there's lack of autonomy. I've been to the Parliament of Kenya on a number of occasions, but I think we see a difference. I think the Kenyan Parliament is more autonomous if we are to compare with our Parliament. And then lack of guiding cooperating framework, as indicated. We work with the civil society organizations on one-on-one basis. We do not have a cooperation framework, M&D or some sort of, MOU of some sort of where it should guide the cooperation. So I think that's one issue. But the good thing is now with the Open Government Partnership to which Parliament of Malawi is party to, we are now trying to bring together the civil society organizations so that we can have maybe quarterly meetings where we can be discussing issues that affect them, and they also tell us what they wish to do. So with that, we believe we'll be able to coordinate properly with them. We have some civil society organizations, like I think VOM will come in. We are working with them based on specific issues, but as individuals, not as a coordinated block. Next slide, please. So quite a number of opportunities for this collaboration and to improve the work, accessibility of Parliament by the general public, to foster understanding of the citizenry. So we have quite a number of platforms where they can access parliamentary work and information, like the Parliament website. We've also platforms where we engage the general public, including the civil society, like the Parliament Week, and also the opening of Parliament to the public to come at any time and visit us. So there's quite a lot of platforms where the civil society can interface with the members of Parliament and the caucuses, as already indicated. The next one. So in terms of recommendations, we continue with the review of the autonomy pieces of legislation. That's one thing that we are doing as Parliament, to at least make sure that we are autonomous, so that when we have this working relationship with the civil society organizations, the recommendations made, we can easily push for their implementation. At the moment, the law doesn't allow Parliament to go beyond some limits. That's why I said when we submit the reports to the executive, it's up to them to implement or not. But I think with the autonomy, we'll be able to push for a more more action from the executive once we agree on some things with the civil society organizations. There is also a need to continue enhancing the skill set of Parliament to enhance the research and analytical skill set, which is also very important. And we continue engaging partners to support both Parliament and civil society as they do the oversight work, but also more awareness initiatives for the civil society to ensure that they understand how Parliament operates, and then they can be able to effectively push for their agenda. Next, please. So that's it from our end. We are still in the process of strengthening this relationship, and we believe at some point we'll be there. Parliament is still trying its best to be as open as it can, knowing that civil society is very critical in this governance dispensation. Thank you very much, moderator.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's have Ms. Velia. Sorry, Mr. Viwema, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon and good morning.
Good afternoon, good morning, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I think Lovemo and Velia have laid the foundation in terms of the presentation. We can go to the next slide. Basically, I'm just going to walk you through where do we come in. I'll just portray what already Lovemo and Velia have shared. Then the collaborative areas, and then also look at challenges, and then some steps moving forward. I think in terms of setting the case or stating the case for CSOs, I wanted to share this quotation, which says there cannot be an open or accountable National Assembly without the participation of civil society. CSOs play a role in the design and implementation of transparency and parliamentary processes and policies. Basically, they entrench governance, issues of accountability coming in through the evidence. Next slide. And also building on what Lovemo already shared, there have been a lot of work around how to complement parliamentary work. This has been done through committee hearings and consultations, where Parliament would reach out for civil society input in terms of the evidence, in terms of the data that they can add value in terms of their deliberations. There have been public engagements. We have seen this year that there was Parliament outside the chamber, and then Parliament Week, basically to reach out, and civil society as a bridge has been there to support such kind of processes. As already alluded to by Lovemo, there are quite a number of bills that have been supported in terms of passing and adoption, and mainly for those that sometimes have been shelved, maybe within a certain cohort that have been shelved, but coming back, and we have seen the civil society and the Parliament relation helping bring out such kind of relation, and these are just some of the examples. And of late as well, as civil society or NGOs, we have seen how best can we take Parliament to the people through school competitions, through labs that are available at the district level, sub-district level, where they're engaging just basically discuss Parliament. Next slide. Yeah. I think in terms of opportunities, I think what we currently see is the secretariat that is there as compared to maybe the members of Parliament. I think in my next slide, I'll share how the lack of continuity is affecting also knowledge sharing and also just the deliberation. But I think with the base coming from the secretariat, we have seen a lot of continuity because they're quite competent and also skilled people and who offer in terms of institutional memory, continuity and all that. And then I think we have also seen a new partnership, the OGP, the Open Government Platforms, and these, which Parliament is also a member. We see it bringing Parliament closer to the people, because one of the challenges most of the times is people would say, we don't know how Parliament operates, and we believe through these processes, Parliament is coming closer to the people. And then again, there's a lot of interest and demand now from citizens in terms of wanting to see their parliamentarians deliver. And I think this we see as an opportunity in terms of ensuring accountability, ensuring that there's continuity, but also that they reach out and are speaking for those often left behind. Next slide. Yeah. In terms of challenges, I think there are quite a number. One of the key ones, I think, as Lavmo mentioned, is they have no constituency offices or even offices at the chamber, and that becomes a challenge. How do you engage them? When do you engage them? And that becomes a big challenge because the spaces where to engage are often quite expensive as well, if you are to engage them. Then we have seen with the 7 elections in Malawi that there is lack of continuity in terms of the significant turnover of members, over 70%, including the last one, that they do not come back. And if you look at literature, it tells you that most of the members of parliament, it takes them 2.5 or thereabout for them to start understanding. Then the next, you find that they are no longer there. So you see the investment that has been there is lost in terms of knowledge, whether expertise, but you are like dealing with the new members each time they come in. Then again, we have seen partisan interest against the national good. I think a key example is one of the laws that was enacted just in 2023, the electoral law, which prohibits civil society like us who want to observe elections. And initially, what was happening was we were able to get transfers. But now with this new law, which just came in 2023, yes, we ended up being restrictive. And then again, we have also seen, and I think Lavmo mentioned, as an option for lawmaking, it's not opted for the use of private members' bills. And this is where we see a civil society coming in or bringing in the issues that are missed out from the executive in terms of the bills that are discussed. But we see a lot of challenges in terms of lining up or scheduling of these private members' bills. Again, because of use of language, we are still using English. A lot of people don't know how parliament or our parliament works, and it's a big area. Again, from our end, I think it's a question of skills set for the NGOs, quite a number of challenges in terms of also supporting parliament. How do we best support them when it comes to debt management? When it comes gender responsive budgeting, you find that we're also challenging those skills. Again, due to competition, and I think Lavmo put it nicely, we're operating as silos. So it's NGOs, it's not like the sector itself. So we find particular initiatives specific, and that becomes a challenge because we are like fighting for the same space in terms of wanting to work with the parliament. And most of these, you find that are short term and we don't offer that continuity. Next. Yeah. I think moving forward, I think as a suggestion is to do more in terms of the learning platforms. I think the next year there will be a lot of work with Parliament around the processes where I would want to learn to say how is it working, what is not working, how best do we move forward. But again, as a civil society platform, we would also want to do a lot of exchanges in terms of how best can we work with Parliament. Some of the things that I mentioned, issues to do, gender responsive budgeting, whether it's even the inclusive agenda, because we see a lot of pushback on the gender agenda in terms of the numbers. If you look at the numbers, the number that was reflected from the 223, there are only 48, and the numbers decreased. In 2019, we had 23%. As we speak, we have 21% because of the first past the post. We don't have quotas. And it's an area where you literally see voices, especially for marginalized groups, persons with disabilities, youth, missing out in the parliamentary space, and yet they're in majority. Again, I think there will be a lot of effort around awareness raising. What is parliament? How best can parliament save the people and all that? And then again, the issue of evidence and also strengthening collaboration. Eugene, at this point, let me pause. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Mr. Biwemi. And I don't want to just come in and spoil the whole soup. We need to continue with this conversation. Now, we've heard from our colleagues in Malawi. I would like now to welcome our colleagues from Kenya to now, finalize the 20-minute presentation that they have. And then after that, we shall go into the Q&A. Over to you, our team from Kenya. I would like to welcome you, Dr. Ponge, to go first.
Okay, thanks so much, Eugene and team, for organizing this. I will be talking about strengthening civil society engagement and multi-stakeholder collaboration to build more effective, accountable ecosystems, specifically giving examples from the Kenyan case. So the aim of my presentation is basically to highlight Kenya's experiences, identify what works, what challenges persist, and outline how we can jointly enhance accountability through structured and meaningful engagement between the civil society and parliament. And we obviously know, and as we have heard from the Malawi side also, the CSOs play a vital role in terms of transparency and accountability, and parliamentarians in the Kenyan context and also academics contribute to evidence-based policy making. And therefore, the marriage between the two strengthens collaboration and leads to robust accountability ecosystems that improves governance. Next slide. So in this slide, I'm just trying to highlight some of the cases that we have witnessed in Kenya of successful instances where civil society have collaborated productively with the Parliament of Kenya. And these successes demonstrate that when CSOs have access, and I'm happy that Afiske from Malawi and VME also talked about the element of access, CSOs having access, and then Parliament is open to partnership, then significant contributions can be made to policy, especially in terms of quality and accountability. And effective engagement has also occurred through legislative reviews, participation in public hearings, and partnerships in oversight processes. In the Kenyan example, we have the public participation bill, where CSOs like the Mzalendo Trust lobbied for structured citizen engagement, and this was included in the bill. For the Kenya anti-corruption reforms, we had the Kenya Human Rights Commission and Transparency International, which influenced stronger anti-corruption laws. Then we also have the open government partnership, just like the Malawi colleagues mentioned, where CSOs have co-created national action plans for transparency. We have an example of the Community Land Act in Kenya, where a CSO known as the Kenya Land Alliance championed community land rights, and this was included in the Land Act, and also Access to Information Act of 2016, which was a 20-year advocacy campaign that secured public access to information in Kenya. Next slide. Yes, and now we're talking about the barriers to collaboration. In as much as we have had these successes that we've mentioned, collaboration has not always been a smooth going. And there have been several barriers that limit effective engagement. And these include limited access to parliamentary processes, political interests that may override citizen priorities, and occasional mistrust between the legislators and the civil society actors. In some cases, CSOs lack the resources, time, or technical capacity to consistently engage. But on the other hand, Parliament may also perceive CSOs as troublemakers or adversaries rather than complementary partners. So we need to recognize these barriers, and recognizing these helps us to identify where reforms or capacity buildings are needed. Next slide. In terms of enablers of collaboration, we can say that these enablers include structured participation mechanisms openness to stakeholder input, and availability of evidence-based analysis from CSOs. Then there is the element of trust building, having regular dialogue and clear rules of engagement, which also support this element of collaboration. And when both sides appreciate the value of participation and transparency, the result is always improved legislation, stronger oversight, and better alignment with the needs of citizens. As you can see in those two pictures, in the first picture was a case where the Africa Gender and Development Evaluators Network was training the parliamentarians and parliamentary staff on evidence-informed decision-making. That's one way in which we as the CSOs engage with the government actors. And in the image below, that was during the 8th Kenya National M&D Conference, which was held in Kisumu and organized by the National Treasury and Ministry of Planning, where again, civil society actors, as can be seen there, engaged effectively with government actors in terms of the linkages between evidence generation and policy influence. Next slide. So there are existing CSO parliamentary models, especially in the Kenyan context. One, the Public Participation Bill is an example where joint drafting allowed the CSOs to bring expertise directly into the legislative process. Then we have the Civil Society Parliamentary Engagement Network, CSPEN, which brings together over 25 CSOs involved in structured policy dialogue. And then through the Open Government Partnership, CSOs also serve as co-chairs and advisors, and this promotes transparency and accountability in engagement between these different actors. So CSOs frequently participate in parliamentary committees and hearings, and thereby provide expert analysis that strengthens decision making. So sorry for the disturbance. Yes, now in terms of way forward or strengthening the accountability ecosystem, we need clear frameworks for participation, sustainable financing for CSOs engagement, and capacity strengthening for both parliamentary staff. Even the Malawi case advocated for this clearer framework for participation, which is key in terms of engagement. Then technology, we also need to talk about technology that can help make participation more inclusive and accessible. And then more importantly, the building of trust and institutionalizing the consultation process, as this will ensure that engagement is not personally driven, but is grounded in predictable systems and written laws and policies. So collaboration should move beyond ad hoc meetings towards continuous and well-structured partnerships. So in conclusion, last slide. So in conclusion, we can just say that civil society play a vital role in shaping robust accountability systems and partnerships with Parliament. And this is essential for ensuring that laws and oversight processes reflect citizens' needs. Kenya's experience shows us that with the right structures, the right trust, and openness in terms of engagement, this can lead to powerful improvements in governance. So as we move forward, our shared responsibility should be to ensure that participation is not symbolic, but meaningful. Strong accountability ecosystems depend on these strong relationships, which we need to build between the CSOs and the parliamentary actors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ponge. We'd like now to welcome Ms. Ida to carry on to the next presentation.
Thank you very much, Eugene, and thank you to my previous presenters. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining, and to my French speakers, brothers and sisters, also I greet you and appreciate you. First and foremost, you can go to this slide. First and foremost, I would just want to start, just as my predecessor said, African parliaments all over, we have seen they are really facing increasing demands for accountability. We have seen agitation, we have seen demonstrations, we have seen calls to action. And of course, this is because as we go on, people need more accountability. And evidence right now is needed more than ever to be able to strengthen our oversight and also to scrutinize the budgets and the finances in every country, and also to draft the policies and laws. So why exactly do evidence matter? Of course, as the Member of Parliament from Malawi said, there's need for that fact-based accountability, fact-based projects, fact-based policies and budgets. There's also need, of course, to track results in national policies because we can't do the same thing over and over again, expecting to get different results. And there is also the enhancing accountability. So I'll be talking about two cases, that is the APNOD. APNOD and APNOD is a regional body, and Parliamentary Caucus in Kenya is a national body. So it will be quite interesting to see what the two bodies have done in common, and the diverse concepts in these bodies, what has led to their success. So Africa Parliamentary Network on Development Evaluation, that is APNOD, is an open body, open to current and former parliamentarians, that is from Africa and also from beyond. It strengthens the members of parliament capacity, especially to demand and use evidence. It also works to strive to bridge that gap between the evaluators, people like us, who are providers of evidence, and then the parliamentarians, those are the policymakers and the utilizers of evidence. Now, when it comes to Kenya, there's a parliamentary caucus. There are quite a number of caucuses, by the way, just like Malawi. But I have interacted with this caucus. That's why I'm talking about it. The Kenya Parliamentary Caucus on Evidence-Informed Oversight is a cross-party caucus. That is, it's a non-partisan. It invites all the members of parliament from the two houses, as well as from different parties. That is, it advocates for the use of data and evidence in the legislative and oversight functions. It also integrates evidence into legislation and creates that evidence champions among parliamentarians. This body was formed in 2015, and especially the Member of Parliament who spearheaded it was Dr. Susan, and it was quite a unique thing. From there has been champions and champions coming from this caucus. So I would say it's a plus when it comes to its sustainability. It has also really helped in institutionalizing evidence in decision-making within that parliament setting, and also the production of a robust research department, which was created as a result of this caucus, and which provides evidence which is now used by policymakers and the Parliamentary Budget Office. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, what are some of the interventions now of the two bodies, the regional body as well as the national body? One of them is capacity development of the parliamentarians. There has been training of members of parliament, the staffs and the secretariat and the committees when it comes to the parliament, and on how to use the M&E and evidence effectively. Then there's also knowledge generation. If you go into the website, especially of ANOD, UpNode, you will see a lot of documents which have been posted there. And when you go now to the Kenya Now caucus also, you will find that they have developed briefs, they have synthesized evidence products for parliamentary use, of course. The third one, there has been a lot of institutional strengthening, that is building the internal systems to be able to integrate evidence into the oversight process. And then the partnership and co-creation, and I think that is where also this topic is coming from, that partnership with CSOs, partnership with NGOs and funders and other partners, and also the voluntary organization for professional evaluation. That is, of course, the networks, the societies, the associations which deal with evaluation. So there has been that collaboration with think tanks, with academia, with the civil society. Next, so some of the achievement, let me talk about now Kenya. The institutionalization of the caucus itself has been a success because, as I said, despite members of parliament who are coming in new, they are able to integrate themselves into the caucus and they become evaluation champions. Then we have seen members of parliament using evidence for the bills which are passed in parliament, and there has been strengthened collaboration, especially with evaluators, when it comes to training, to invitation of different activities. For example, what Ponge showed in Kisumu in the MNE week, which was done in collaboration, of course, with the evaluators and the parliamentarians to train or to share the pathway that had been taken in terms of enhancing gender and equity. Then we have also seen the trickle down of evidence increase, that is in the counties. Kenya have counties, which is a replica of the national government. So because of this, what's happening in the parliament, there's also been a trickle down of use of evidence in some of the counties. And then we have seen debates really become very strong, especially in terms of quality because of the evidence base. And then there's also the improved scrutiny of the Sustainable Development Goals 2030, the Vision 2030, sorry about that, I think it came as 2020, our vision is Vision 2030, and also a scrutiny in the budgets. So these are some of the outcomes or achievements in terms of Kenya, and because of the presence of the caucus. Some of the enablers now, when we come to how the CSO have come in strongly, let's talk the success of UpNode. UpNode being a continental or a regional network has really seen that strong peer learning across Africa. When we look at the parliament in Benin, in Morocco, in Cameroon, they have been successful because of UpNode. There has been strategic partnership within UpNode, the partnership that's with Africa Evaluation Association, IDEAS, which is a global network, with CLARE FA and CLARE AA, UNFPA, as well as the evaluation bodies across Africa. Then they have also received support from different, as a result of this relationship with the civil societies or with the societies, they have received, okay, 1 minute. Yeah, they have received support from different development partners. There has been high-level political buy-in in terms of leadership support from speakers and committees, and also capacity building of MPs and the staffs of UpNode. As for I think I'll jump that and now go to the enablers in terms of the Kenyan body. Go to the next, please. There's been strong multi-stakeholder collaboration, for example, with AGNED, with AFIDEP, with AFREA. There's also been gender-responsive and equity-focused evidence. This cannot go without being mentioned. And also the high-quality research and policy evidence, as I talked about. A lot of capacity building and mentorship for the members of parliament, but also peer learning through different bodies like APNOD, and engagement of academia and civil society, which is very crucial if there is need for success, and institutionalization within the parliament. The next one, I'm almost finishing, Eugene. I can't just let go without talking about the challenges which have been mentioned also by my colleagues. Of course, we know there's a high members of parliament turnover. This is the same also in Kenya. And of course, this affects a lot some of these bodies, because some of the members of parliament, once they go, they don't feel like coming back to participate in the activities. There's limited financial and human resource. Then something important is sometimes the political interest defeats the evidence. For example, we see despite having evidence on a certain issue, still maybe it's passed, a bill is passed into law, despite the warnings from the data. And then there's also limited time for members of parliament to engage with evidence because their calendars are fully packed. The next slide, I think for that it's almost with the same as the previous one, but also we can say there's been fragmentation in collaboration with the academia and think tanks. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'll end there. But also to emphasize the need of using digital tools. Our parliaments need also to engage and to embrace the changes in use of AI and other technology. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Ida. We really appreciate you. I know if we had enough time, we'll actually have gone deeper to understand what you've been presenting.
Yep.
But allow us to now have our last presenter, Mr. Kiboy.
Thank you, panelists who have been on this session. I think they have made my work very easy. Just to sort of recap what has been said. First of all is to just say like Kenya, like Malawi. Just next slide, Kenya, like Malawi, we have a parliament, and the parliament has got different committees. In Kenya, we have got two. The parliament consists of the National Assembly and the Senate, and they all work towards having effective and efficient management of what they do. Their job is just the same, so I'm not going to repeat, but we are working with the parliament to be able to build the capacity of parliament to be able to undertake monitoring and evaluation. We realize that the capacity of monitoring and evaluation of our parliamentarians at the two levels, at the National Assembly and the Senate, which form the parliament, is low, and therefore there is need to enhance evidence-based legislation oversight together with representation. So you can read the slide. Next slide. So basically the role of legislature in Kenya in terms of M&E is basically to use M&E in the three spheres I've mentioned, legislation, representation, and oversight. Secondly is budget allocation for M&E function. I think we've had this as a challenge that despite allocation of budget to all other functions, M&E budget has been low, and therefore we think that with the support of our CSOs, we can be able to get adequate allocation for M&E functions. Also, we expect the role of the Parliament is to review prescribed reports. Our Constitution provides for different reports that have to be tabled in Parliament. But if Parliament don't have capacity to go through those reports and give informed decisions, then they cannot. They'll just be tabled, and nothing will be done from those reports. And also now we expect Parliament to support participatory monitoring and evaluation, so that they use members of the community, members of the CSOs to undertake M&D. Also, we expect, as somebody from Malawi mentioned, which are these tools that can be used for M&D for oversight. And we expect basically from this session and from our partners that the whole issue of having standardized M&D tools that can be used for the oversight function that is done by Parliament will be very important. So I just wanted, although my delegates from Kenya have talked, I wanted to set the context why it's important for the CSOs to play a role in supporting Parliament in its oversight role. But basically, our Constitution is very strong. It provides for critical areas where M&D is. It talks about the issues of accountability, transparency, efficiency and effectiveness, and therefore the Constitution is very strong on the issue of the role of monitoring and evaluation. Our Constitution in the first part talks about the role of the people. It gives all the sovereign powers to the people, and therefore the people can exercise this oversight by themselves, but mostly through Parliament, which is through democratically elected members of Parliament. And therefore, based on this article in the Constitution, then the CSOs and the people have a right to support the National Assembly in doing the oversight role. In our Article 10 also of the Constitution, you find that the participation of the people, and when you talk about the participation of the people, it means that then the civil society organizations have got a strong role to play, being sometimes the voice of the people. Some of the CSOs, because of their inclusive nature, they can also bring inclusivity in areas that have been forgotten, and they can also support the whole issue of good governance, integrity, transparency, and accountability. So we find that the CSOs have got a strong role to play in this area. Also, because of the role of provision of information, access to information, where every citizen has a right to information, we feel that the Parliament and also the CSOs working together, they can actualize this article, be able to ensure that from the information that is derived from what the public service is doing, then we can be able to provide this information to the public in general. Next slide. So our Constitution gives a specific role for the Parliament, and this role is, as I mentioned, and we have got this authority is basically derived from the people, and it's at the national level where we've got the Parliament. Remember that Kenya being a devolved system, we also have national and county level. So we have got the role of Parliament at the national level, but we also have the role of county assemblies at the county level. Of interest is what is called the role of the National Assembly, apart from representing the constituencies and special interest, is a role for determination of allocation of national revenue between the two levels of government, and also for appropriating funds for expenditure by the national government and other national state organs, but also importantly exercising oversight over the monies that have been provided. I think there's a weakness here. Our standing orders are, the National Assembly and Senate standing orders are quite strong, but the follow-up is a bit difficult. And I think through capacity building by national government, by CSOs, this is something that can be enhanced so that our national assemblies, given the mandate, given the know-how, given the skills and competencies, they can be able to undertake this role. Remember what Malawi said about committees. Also, our standing orders allow for formation of different caucuses, and my colleague has mentioned about a caucus that was there. It's a bit weak now, and I think this is one of the challenges that that we have to deal about the continuity of caucuses, of structures that have been put, given that our national assemblies keep on changing, and also members of National Assembly or Parliament have different skill sets when they come to the to Parliament. So next slide. So this is just to buttress that Kenya has got two levels of government. What happens at the national level and what happens at the county level? It's important that the two levels, even at the county level, that there is proper oversight, that the county assemblies provide oversight at what the county governments do. What happens at the national level should be replicated at the county level for oversight. So in Article 201, basically talks about how then do we have openness and accountability and public participation. These are clear oversight functions that during the use of public finance, that there is proper oversight over those funds, and public money shall be used in prudent and responsible way. This is also where CSOs can support the parliamentarians in terms of oversighting what state organs, state agencies are doing to ensure that all the funds have been expended in a manner that is prudent and responsive, and based on the fiscal reporting that is provided. But this fiscal reporting and responsibility to be made clear, be made citizen-centric, to be made in a manner that the citizen can also understand, other than use of language that can be understood by the elites. Next slide. So just a few things that support monitoring and evaluation in Kenya. One is the Public Investment Management Regulations. Then also the Public Service Commission, which is basically the performance management regulation. We have the Kenya National Monitoring and Evaluation Policy, which gives the function of Parliament, which gives also the function of the CSOs, and which gives the role of the citizenry. And then, of course, we have the Kenya Knowledge Management Policy, which indicates how knowledge is to be shared and how evidence then is to be provided for decision making. Thank you. That ends my presentation.
Thank you so much, David, for that wonderful presentation. I would like to first of all appreciate the fact that all the 6 presenters have given me work to do, and I've got around 6 good written pages of their data. But of course, my timekeeper will not allow me to synthesize this as I was hearing it. So allow me to just quickly draw some of the things that I picked from the presentations put together. First of all, I would like to appreciate the fact that in both houses, we are seeing that there's a critical nexus between the CSOs and Parliament. And to support this, I can see that both countries, there's what we call the Parliamentary Oversight, which allows the CSOs to come into play and support certain processes. So that is one thing that I can recognize. I think it was Lavamo. Lavamo highlighted how CSOs act is more like a hub for citizen participation. So I think that is a very good addendum to take note. That was in sections 12 and 13 according to your Malawian constitution. Yep. Okay. From the Kenyan side, there is the CS pen, which Miss Eda talked about. And I think that one also goes a long way to show that there's a nexus between the CSOs and the parliament. And I think it's a good thing that we actually have to have that voice coming into play. A common mwananchi or a citizen might not have the ability to speak about certain aspects, but a CSO has that ability to come out and speak about certain things in certain fora that a common citizenry might not be able to come into. My second point that I took note of was with regard to evidence as foundation to everything that ought to be done. What Mr. Kiboy has just alluded to, what our first Malawian presenter, Miss Velia, talked about, because there was that insistence on, the parliamentary work ought to be supported by evidence. And I can quote and remember that Velia saying there is a confusion of what evidence is, but of course that can also be talked about. So the committees use those factual information sets so that they're able to make certain decisions. And I think that is a very good thing. But of course, everything that goes into this has got to have somebody in the background that brings or supports the parliamentarians, because we also see a disconnect between the kind of work that they're doing vis-a-vis the output they're supposed to bring out. So the parliamentarians will need a lot of support, because they have to still be able to account to the citizenry, the ones who voted them in, and also perform a national function. A national function will call for a lot of evidence with regard to certain aspects. So it goes a mile to talk about that capacity development aspect that has also been mentioned from both sides. Increasing capacity or ensuring that there's good capacity, that actually the parliamentarians are put on a certain level that they can be able to understand what is required, and even better, they can actually guide on what is required when they are collecting, let's say, the data or policies that are related to the same. So therefore, both countries are calling for quality data drives, and which is a very good thing. So that was my point number 2. And then point number 3 with regard to successful collaborations. I think if I'm not mistaken, the Malawian legislative successes, that is, I can quote, that was was it Information Act? The Information Act. Then there was also mention of the Gender Equality or Equity Act from Malawi, but we can also see the same replicas from the Kenyan side, which now allows us to actually have some information flowing on both sides, not one-sided kind of flow. But to have good accountability, to have good transparency, we need to ensure that we have a balance between what we can receive and what we can actually output. So that balance calls for good, successful collaboration. And I think that is what now both sides, both Kenya and Uganda, is also supporting. I don't want to go more. I have, I think, more 6 or 7 aspects, but these ones I can share later on, probably in my debrief. But I would like to allow us to have a 10-minute Q&A session so that our panelists can respond to them quickly, and then we are out of here. So with that, allow me to open the floor we shall have approximately 2 to 3 questions voice. We have already received other questions from the Amanda, how are we receiving the questions? Are we using the Q&A? Because if we're using the Q&A, they can be responded to.
Yes, we've got a few on the chat, and I believe we also have a raised hand. Can I suggest that we start with the raised hand from Mr. Ronald?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for the insightful presentations from the speakers. I'm Dr. Ronald Munatz. I work with the Zimbabwe Evidence Informed Policy Network. I'm also an academic affiliated with the University of Johannesburg. So I've also had my own share of working with parliaments. Our organization works to enhance the use of evidence in policy, and we have worked with the Parliament of Zimbabwe for the past 10 years or so. And it's heartening to note that most of the observations that have been highlighted, we have experienced some of the barriers, some of the enablers, including, of course, other challenges. But I want to highlight the fact that unlike executive arms, parliaments are generally typified by a broad political spectrum. As much as it encourages greater public responsibility and scrutiny, including democratic participation, there are also challenges of evidence fragmentation and politicization. And this affects evidence-informed decision-making, especially if we look at the variety of knowledge sources, the analysis and presentation needed to suit various political goals. And there are also issues of integrating societal values as well. So my question is, as civil society organizations, how can they play, an honest and objective brokering role, especially in populist and polarized settings that are consistent with most African countries? Because in my experience, I've observed that sometimes civic society organizations.
Ronald, I
Yes.
think the question is clear. We can get another hand.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ronald. Thank you. Do we have any other hand? Okay.
I am happy to read from the chat.
Okay. So the first question we have got from Ronald is about the honesty of CSOs or objectively brokering, the evidence and policy aspects in a politicized society. So I think I don't know who is going to take this question. But I'm sure one of our panelists is actually preparing to deal with this. So before we go to the next question, Amanda, just please read the next questions, and then we can take them at once.
Will do. So the questions to the panelists from Parliament, from your perspective, what is the most valuable type of support a CSO can provide to an MP on a parliamentary committee? Is it grassroots data, technical policy analysis, or public awareness campaigns? The second one is, what are the main internal barriers or disincentives within Parliament that might prevent an MP from actively collaborating with a CSO? For example, political party pressure, fear of being seen as outsourcing their role, etc. The third question, what is the most common mistake CSOs make when trying to lobby or present evidence to you? And what should they do instead to be more effective? We have more, but I'll end with those three for now.
Okay. Any of the panelists? I saw Dr. Ponga is ready to go first. Dr. Ponga, which question are you handling?
Yes, thanks so much, Eugene, and the participants. I would like to respond to the questions from the chat, and in response to one of the questions from the chat, I think I will also slightly touch on the question that was raised by Dr. Ronald or Donald? Ronald. Yes.
Ronald, yes.
Oh yeah, Ronald. Yes. So in terms of the support that the most valuable type of support that a CSO can provide to a sitting MP or parliamentary committee, I think the most important thing here would be in terms of awareness creation for the people. The CSOs are the grassroots people. We should create awareness and also build the capacity of the people, the wananchi, as we call them in Kenya, I mean in Eastern Africa, the people on the ground. Build their capacity to be able to hold the duty bearers to account for any of their roles and responsibilities. And also in terms of oversight, the CSOs can also try to empower the local people in terms of oversight by making them be part of, for example, when there's a project that is to be implemented, they are part and parcel of the project monitoring committees. And this way they are able to help the MPs in knowing whether they are doing right or not right. In terms of disincentives, there was a question about the main internal barriers or disincentives. I think this majorly has been the lack of budget. Because the moment the MPs are not, the members of parliament are not provided with a budget for, say, evidence generation or for monitoring and evaluation, then they are left at the mercies of the CSOs. And this is an area where, again, power plays, which is related to what Dr. Donald did mention about the polarized ecosystem. So this one links me to the third question, which was about what is the most common mistake CSOs make when trying to lobby or prevent evidence. The first most common mistake is policy-informed evidence, where the CSOs try to play to the gallery. The political class has already come up with a policy that they want to implement, and then the CSO now comes to play to the gallery by trying to come in to generate evidence that is supposed to inform this policy, which with or without the evidence, the executive has already made up their mind they want to implement this policy. So they only want someone who can help support them in mobilizing for the support of the policy. Then number two is the who pays the piper calls the tune. This one makes the CSOs guilty at both ends. One, at the end of the donors, and two, also at the end of the political players, where the political players regulate the work of the CSOs. And if they are seen not to be playing to the gallery, then they can be accused of anything and then be deregistered as civil society organizations. And this one leads me now to the third point, which closely links with Dr. Ronald's question, which is playing politics with data. And this can easily make a CSO lose credibility. This is where, for example, you are generating data to support one political class against the other. This, in other parlance, would be referred to as witch hunting, which the CSOs are not supposed to be doing. They are supposed to be objective and neutral observers in this ecosystem, so as to be able to help the executive with genuine data, which is not like beating the data till the data talks to what the executive want to listen to. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ponge, for that response. Do we have any, not rebuttal really, but any response from Malawian side? Afiske, Viemo?
I think just why?
Yes, Vim, proceed.
No, I just wanted to pitch in on the fourth question in terms of the question that was asked to say, given that MPs have limited time and competing priorities, what strategies have you found most effective for getting your evidence into their agenda or framing it in a way they cannot ignore? I think basically is to...
Now, just a moment, Mr. Viwemi. I think Velia wants to contribute on the previous, so allow her to respond to contribute, then you can come in on the fourth one. Velia, please.
No problem.
Okay, right.
Thank you very much. Actually, I wanted to shed more light on a question that says, what kind of data should CSOs bring to members of parliament? Should it be grassroots data? Should it be technical policy analysis? Should it be public awareness? My take on that is bring everything, because that's what will make members of parliament have an informed policy decision. They need technical data. They also need data from the grassroots. So if you just provide one side, therefore that is not going to be balanced. But members of parliament need to have balanced information. Therefore, bring all the types of data to members of parliament. That's a contribution I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Biwemi, the floor is yours.
Quickly, I just wanted to share that I think where we have seen pockets of spaces where we can make inroads, spaces where the parliament is in sitting and they have the days that they are free, like Monday morning, Wednesday morning. Those are pockets where you can also come in terms of engagement and sharing with them. And this could be through briefs, could be through engagement with experts in terms of sharing with them the evidence. And we have seen that in this way, it's much easier and faster to pass through across the additional information or reference notes that they can use during the deliberation or current discussion that they're having within the bills or even a motion over.
Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution, Mr. Biwemi. Do we have any more questions, Amanda?
We do. For the sake of time, I'll just give you two.
Okay.
This would be to panelists from CSOs. How do you maintain a principled, evidence-based approach and avoid being seen as partisan or being co-opted by a particular political faction, especially in a polarized environment? Second question, have you found it more effective to engage Parliament as individual organizations or as part of a broader coalition? What are the advantages and challenges of a unified civil society voice?
Okay, so we have two questions. I think Ms. Eda and Lavamo, it would be nice to hear from you on these two.
Yes, please. I'm looking for the questions, but they seem not on my side.
How do you maintain a principled, evidence-based approach and avoid being seen as partisan or being co-opted by a particular political faction, especially in a polarized environment? And the second one, if you want to tackle it, have you found it more effective to engage Parliament as individual organizations or as part of a broader coalition? What are the advantages and challenges of a unified civil society voice?
Oh, yeah. Those are very good questions. And especially the first one, I think it's related to what Ronald was alluding to. I would say this can happen, but as a civil society, it's really good to maintain a neutral ground because we want to provide what will benefit the society at large. So one of the ways that a CSO would really provide good data, which is not like taking sides of any, which is not politically just politically benefit the politician, but it's there to serve the ground. The ground society would be to provide data that is very, very rigorous, and it's factual and it's true, but also ethical. This way, the CSO is well covered and is not seen to be playing a political game. Also, it's good to look at it in terms of the timing of providing the data. The politicians, of course, need that data at any one time, but it's good to look at what time are you providing the data. Is it during very high election cycle, or maybe when there are the budget cycles, the committee hearings? It's good to look at the best time to provide the data. The data is needed at all the time, but it can't be used to play politics. But the methodology also of providing that data, it should be something that is high impact, evidence product, for example, infographics, a short brief, 1 or 2 pages, snapshot dashboards that can be used by the politician or the policy makers. So for me, that's what I would go for, to be able to make that decision ready facts, but also in a volatile situation. The question on when you find it best, is it as a collaboration, or
coalition?
CSO? Yes. I would say it's both times. A single CSO sometimes has their different vision and mission and activities. So they know why they're approaching the political class at that time. But one of the best times that brings the best outcome, it's when they go together as a collaborative team. That's what I've seen in Kenya anyway. Sometimes when the CSOs come together and amplify their voice, then it is more hard and it becomes effective. So I think they should balance both sides, going together and also for simple things they can go alone. But putting a united front is much more better. Thank you.
Great. I think we can count this a good day, and I would like to just 30 seconds for every panelist to just give their parting shots. 30 seconds, give parting shots, and then we can conclude and we call it a day. We start with you, Dr. Ponge.
Thanks so much, Eugene, and thanks so much, fellow panelists. I wear many hats, among them being a change person or an activist, one that lives in the trenches. And for that matter, I say that we are as important in the political context, in the political ecosystem, as are the politicians and the academics. So the civil society organizations and activists must be taken care of and be heard in every engagement that affects the common people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ponge. Over to you, Velia.
For me, what I would say is, my call is, once you have got evidence, bring evidence to members of parliament. The beauty about parliament is, if your evidence is rejected by those in government, the opposition will use your evidence. If the opposition will not use your evidence, those in government will use your evidence. Therefore, bring evidence to parliament. Members of parliament are going to use it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Velia. Over to you, Mr. Fiske. No, there's no specific order. It's fine. It's okay.
All right. Okay. No, I will take it on behalf of Afisi. Okay. Two critical things. I think from the discussion, the need to build trust is very important. Civil society and the parliamentarians, I think that trust is very important. Without that trust, it will be very difficult to work together. But at the end of the day, we have a common goal to make sure that the people out there are well represented and their livelihood is uplifted. So that is very, very critical. And working in a coordinated manner, I think in our case, learning from what our colleagues from Kenya have said and have presented here, I think we really need to work in a coordinated manner. And I think that will really take us a long way in the oversight work of Parliament. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lavamo. Over to you, Mr. Kiboi.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak in this forum. I think our CSOs, together with the government, we should form partnerships so that we can be able to provide our members of parliaments, members of county assembly with actionable evidence without fearing from which side of the divide they are in, because when you sit with members of parliament outside the chamber, outside the grandstanding, they all think for the betterment of society, but they lack that data, they lack evidence, and it must be presented in a way that they can understand and that is easily acceptable. They don't have a long time to read a lot of documents, so the evidence must be concise and concrete. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kiboi. Over to you, Mr. Biwema.
Thanks so much. Quite insightful discussion, and I think an opportunity for learning and engagement. There's quite a lot that we can pick from our colleagues from Kenya in terms of how best we also move from the informal structures to the formal structures. And I think the key word is what is working and why, what is not working and why, and how best can we move forward in terms of picking those lessons and harnessing and improving in terms of improving accountability. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Biwema. Over to you, Ms. Eda.
Yes, thank you very much. For me, evidence is the truth, so we should champion it boldly together, because when evidence guides our decisions and our politics, it becomes now a tool for progress. Whether it's in a polarized world, evidence is our common language. It unites us, it strengthens democracy, it builds bridges and not walls. So let's champion evidence together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I hand over back to Amanda and Pafo, I would like to really thank you, colleagues and partners, for your rich contributions in this session and your active engagement. I would like to also thank participants who've been there listening and contributing and asking questions. We really appreciate you. We have had compelling cases, both from Malawi and Kenya, reinforcing the vital role of the civil society and what it plays in this society. So them supporting and enhancing parliamentary oversight, I think it's a very key component that the CSOs need to continue playing. Those experiences, to me, I think accounts for one or two of the things I've already mentioned. Number one, CSO engagement is not just valuable, but essential for healthy democracies. I think also parliaments and CSOs benefit when they work together. So there must be that linkage that always needs to happen consistently. But there's something that Mr. Kiboya has just mentioned. The data needs to be synthesized and communicated correctly. Something to note also from Ms. Ida, she talked about the right timing. To what time are you actually providing this kind of information? So those things that are coming out is very important. And then lastly, the collaborations, for successful collaborations to happen, we have seen from both sides, Malawi, even Zimbabwe, as mentioned by Dr. Ronald, and also Kenya, that there are challenges that are existing. But we need to be able to collaborate and co-create and continue co-creating so that we overcome those challenges for better oversight. So with that said, I think there must be some sort of formal cooperation that ought to be said, ought to be put into place, those agreements that should be able to support the processes. We need to also invest in strengthening evidence systems. The digital tools, the use of AI right now, I think it will come in handy to support the process. I can't remember who exactly, but there was a pointer on mutual learning that was also expressed. And I think that will go a long mile to make the politicians, the parliamentarians, to embrace being in a space where they can actually learn about some of these aspects. Of course, having those organizations like UpNode supporting such processes will go a way to also support it. So with this, today's dialogue shows that while context and approaches may differ, the aspiration for accountability and citizen-centric governance is actually very key. And for that to happen, we need evidence, and that evidence needs to speak back to what people allude to. So with this, I would like to really thank Twendembele for organizing this wonderful session. I think it's a timely conversation for us to be able to learn and see how best to engage with the parliament, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to make laws that are going to affect each and every citizenry in those particular countries. With this, I submit, and I invite my colleague Amanda to take over and finalize.
Thank you. Great. Well, we hope that today's exchanges gave you practical ideas, new connections, and a clear picture of what strong partnerships can look like in practice. Twendembele will continue creating spaces like this for peer learning and cross-country exchange, and we look forward to building on today's momentum. So a sincere thank you to our facilitator, our speakers, and to each one of you for being here today and for participating. We will share the recordings and other key resources with you in the coming week. So with that said, have a wonderful afternoon, and we hope to see you next time.